Hello everyone, let's learn the story of Krishna and the fruit seller. Once, Krishna was sitting beside his mother watching her churn milk into butter, hoping that after she finished doing the work, he will get his share. His mother knew what Krishna was thinking and smiled at him. Just then, a fruit seller called out, "Mangoes! Fresh mangoes!" She was selling fresh and juicy mangoes. Nandaraj called out to the fruit seller and she came to their doorstep. Krishna noticed that the fruit seller was carrying freshly picked delicious mangoes. Nandaraj went into the house and brought out a basket full of grains in exchange for the mangoes and asked if a basket full of grains would be sufficient payment for one basket of mangoes. The fruit seller was delighted to receive an entire basket full of grains in exchange for those mangoes. Krishna watched his father carefully as he exchanged grains for mangoes. Though he was a toddler, he understood that mangoes could be bought in exchange for grains. He wanted to buy some mangoes on his own. So Krishna ran inside and picked up as much as grain as he could in his hands. He tightly closed his hands to ensure that not a single grain fell out of his hands and ran towards the fruit seller. He offered the grains in his hands to the fruit seller. The fruit seller carefully looked at Krishna and was mesmerized by his beauty. For a moment, she forgot everything around her and was unable to take her eyes off Krishna. Krishna called out in his sweet voice, "Could I have some mangoes too?" Saying this, he emptied his hand full of grains into the fruit seller's hands. Krishna's hands could hold only a few grains, and he suddenly realized with so few grains he may not be able to buy any mangoes. The fruit seller noticed the disappointment on Krishna's face, and she gladly put the grains given by him in the basket of grains that she got from Nandaraj and gave little Krishna some golden juicy mangoes, which made him extremely delighted. Suddenly, the basket of grains that Nandaraj had given to the fruit seller turned into a basket full of gold. The fruit seller could not believe her eyes. She looked back at Krishna, who was still smiling at her. At that instant, she knew that Krishna was no ordinary kid, but God Himself.